Right, so for those that don't know, I really like running healers. If we're doing like group content, I will typically play as a healer. If we're playing legendary content as a clan, I'll typically play healer. I am more than capable of playing DPS. I just prefer playing healer. So I like making weird and wacky healing builds, and some work, some don't. You have no idea how many resources I've wasted on trying to make a decent healer build. The problem is, as a healer, if something decides to try and give you a slap, you don't really tend to have much of an answer. Scorpio is a good bet, but then for general DPS, you might want to run Capacitor. Although not that great on a healing build because of the way Capacitor works, you still do get a good chunk of DPS out of it because it scales with yellow cores as well. On top of that, you could use Sweet Dreams for the Sandman talent of where you can basically one-shot reds and purples every 15 seconds. This is also nice, but for actual average, just pushing out DPS, healer builds don't really have a lot of options, which is kind of sad, really. I kind of wish there was a weapon where repair skill was your weapon damage, because at least that way, as a healer, you do have an option. So I've been trying to find out ways of basically trying to make a healer build that compromises a bit of healing and gains a bit of damage. And what I am running here is quite simple, really. It's still Future Initiative. I am working on a build where I'm not using Future Initiative at all, and you get a lot more damage out of it. Maybe not quite so much healing, but that remains to be seen. But this does work quite well. Typically I won't showcase a build in a group, but it's kind of hard to show a healing build if there's no one other than yourself to heal, and especially playing on heroic. Although you can solo content with this build, it will probably take you a while. So this is very much a group oriented playstyle. Now there have been a lot of people doing pure red builds with Future Initiative, which do work quite well-ish for the intended role, which is basically just acting as a pure buff because of the way Future Initiative works. But what if we try and make like a hybrid DPS healer? Well, that's where this build comes in. Healing wise, it's not the greatest amount, but it's also not the greatest amount of DPS. But it's more DPS than you would normally get with a future setup, and vice versa, it's less healing you would normally get with a typical healer setup. This does work on legendary content. We actually did test it before doing this control point because we really wanted to get some legendary footage. There was just one slight problem. My friend Demon was lagging and rubber banding all over the place, and it's kind of hard to heal someone who teleports through the map every 2 seconds. So I thought we'd just play it safe and go with a control point, sadly. Which really did put the halts on that plan. I'm actually quite liking this, to be perfectly honest. It's the first time I've really actually run a healer build like this. I've always basically just run pure heals, and if I struggled, I basically screamed down my microphone and waited for someone to come rescue me. But I thought I want to be able to take care of myself at the very least. So this is what I have come up with. I have no idea if this has been done or shown before, but it's something that I wanted to show. Now, annoyingly, I made a faux pas and asked my friend Demon to play tank build just so that I could get a little bit more DPS in to showcase some of the DPS. The problem is, when someone's playing a tank build and you're playing healer, not only does your hive heal them, it also likes trying to heal their shield, so it absolutely rinses the restorer hive. So yeah, if you see that just basically being down like 99% of the time, it's because it's healing the shield and I monged it. So that's probably not a good representation, along with the fact that he's playing a tank build, so it doesn't actually require that much healing in total. But still, we can overcharge and let him go absolutely nuts for like a couple of seconds with an invulnerable shield. Damage wise, this is on the lower end, although it can take out reds pretty damn easily within a magazine. If you're getting decent enough headshots, takes out a purple in a magazine. However, it will take 2 to 3 magazines on an elite, which is why a lot of the time you see me going for the weak point to blow up their bags, or going for the head, in which case it will just take 2 magazines. Average damage is about 260 to 280,000. Headshots are about 320,000, which is not too bad, I don't think, personally, especially if you are as a healer. Again, we are running capacitor as well, so we do get a little bit of scaling with that skill tier. For the secondary, I have actually opted to run I forgot what it's called. Emmeline's Guard. There we are. Despite the fact I just made a build with Emmeline's Guard. Simply because of the fire rate, it can chew through some enemies a little bit quicker. It also has a higher crit chance. I think we're at 50% crit chance with 99% crit damage. With Emmeline's Guard, we're at 60 with, I think it's like 82 crit damage. Something bizarre like that. However, it's the reformation buff, that is why that is there. So if we really are in a pinch, we can just use reformation to get some of our armor back a little bit quicker, along with the healing. Because like I said, the healing isn't actually as much. Tomorrow, I believe I'm running some legendary clan missions, or as a clan we're going to run the legendary, and I will be testing this build out. Might even record it for a little bit of the old giggle-roos and then upload it, and probably could get a better idea of just how this build performs in general on legendary. But so far I'm actually really happy with it. Now there is actually an easier way to squeeze out a little bit more damage out of this, and that's not using 6 yellow cores. We can actually keep a red if you go as Technician Healer, which potentially could be preferable. I'm using Survivalist Healer because I like using the crossbow to crack the heavies when I am able to, but again, it's not really a requirement. You're opening up to more. If you play Technician Healer, you gain essentially 15% more damage. You have the same amount of healing pretty much, as well as the fact that you are swapping the crossbow for the missile launcher, which might not be a problem with the specialization revamp. We will find out. For general play, I will typically stick with the survivalist because I like the crossbow, like I said, as well as the fire grenades. They really help if you can create a choke point. The technician is pretty good if you are up against rogue agents or hunters because of the disrupt cancellation on the Faraday hive, which is pretty damn handy. But there's not too much difference between them other than obviously the weapon damage. So just to show, as you can see, we are hitting about 300,000 on some headshots there, dropping in just below the 400,000. 388 I think was the highest, and it took a little bit to get rid of that named elite. So obviously survivalist, like I said, capacitor and Emmeline's Guard, and we're running 4-piece future initiative. We're getting the repair skill, the skill haste and the skill duration, as well as the ground control with the 4-piece, which basically means everyone's getting an increase in damage, as well as long as they're within 5 meters, they're sort of buffing each other's healing. Now the flip side to this is I am running the backpack and the chest. This increases the damage buff to 25% rather than the 15%, and the backpack increases the healing when they're in a closer group, just to help compensate for some of our healing from 60% to 120%, because other than our knees, we have 0 skill repair on this build other than what this set at base gives us. And obviously BTSU gloves. Pretty much every other roll on this is crit chance and some crit damage to get to about 50% crit chance, and the crit damage, like I said, was 99%, just so that we can actually fend for ourselves. My BTSU gloves do need a little bit more of work, which I will be inevitably doing before my legendary runs in about 6 hours time with the Bro Clan. Hype. I don't know. Anyway, that just about does it for this build. just a different sort of healer setup I thought you guys might like. Have fun, good luck, don't die. It's bad for the health.